How your lawn looks says a lot about you, so put your lawn care maintenance into the hands of someone who really cares. They're reasonable, experienced, reliable, licensed, and insured. They are Top-Notch Lawn Care of Toledo, Ohio. Commercial and residential services are available all year long. Call or text them today for a free estimate. Top-Notch Lawn Care of Toledo, Ohio, 419-708-0005. Top-Notch Lawn Care of Toledo, Ohio. Hey, that is Smooth Tim and Larry E. Hang on, let me get us on to Tim's Tidbits.
You got to get me in there, man.
There we are, brother. How you doing, Larry? What is happening?
All right, I'm still hot.
Still hot down in Texas? Is that what you just said?
Yeah, look at this skin color, bro. It's beautiful. Butter pecan.
That's crazy.
I see they keep. I really look like a pecan now.
You getting affected? I see they had some fires just outside of Dallas.
Yeah, they had some fires, but it didn't hit my area. It just dry. You know, anything. They said the fire was sparked by a work crew cutting grass or something like that. They were cutting the grass and sparked a big fire and burned down like 20 homes over there. And I think in Fort Worth, Duncanville, that area, not Fort Worth, but Duncanville area, somewhere over there.
Well, you know, yeah. I mean, all it takes is, you know, you got the oxygen, you got the source. All it takes is friction.
That's it. Any little small thing. They said they were cutting down. They were cutting. They were probably smoking a cigarette or something threw it out.
Well, no, not even necessarily that. You know that a gust of wind in the right condition with the right tinder, dry conditions, and the right fuel, you know, dry wood can start a fire.
A spark. That's cool. Yeah, it could be a small spark. That's absolutely true. So it could have been a
nature
spark.
Can do it
I think that's what
all
they
by
said.
itself.
A small spark started.
Mm-hmm. It's amazing. Yeah, and that's just part of what we're going through right now in the United States we seem to be having a hell of a dry source.
Except for, what's that one state that's getting flooded? St. Louis?
Yes. Yeah. I seen that. That would be, Missouri.
Missouri, yeah. They getting battered with water, man. They said it was like 12 inches an hour or something like that, or whatever it was, something crazy.
That's insane. No, that's just totally insane.
Yeah.
Anyhow, man, let's see here. What are we going to talk about tonight? Let's put this up here and see what our tidbit topics are for tonight. Trump wants a nationwide stop and frisk. I don't know if you caught
Oh, this guy here.
Yeah, I don't know if you caught that on the television. No, that was yesterday. He was talking to the National Chiefs of Police Association, as a matter of fact, is who it was. And let's take a look at what he says. Then we can come back and discuss a little bit about what could happen from all this kind of stuff.
We have to. Here's what we must do to restore public safety. First, we have to give our police back their authority, resources, power, and prestige. We have to leave our police alone. Every time they do something, they're afraid they're going to be destroyed, their pension's going to be taken away, they'll be fired, they'll be put in jail. Let them do their job. Give them back the respect that they deserve. Our great police know what to do. We have to allow them to do it. We need to return to stop and frisk policies in cities and not shy away from it. I watched as other politicians recently apologized for stop and frisk where cities were safe. And they apologized, and those cities are no longer safe. So stop and frisk. It works. Do it judiciously, but it works, and it's worked brilliantly. Take the guns away from the criminals who shouldn't be having guns. Let the people that have to have guns, that need to have guns, let them have them. But take them away from...
National Stop and Frisk.
He said other politicians. One thing, he's not a politician.
You're right. He's a businessman. Let's keep that part real. Okay.
And then it's already happening to a lot of black folks stop and frisk. Now, who is he talking about stopping and frisking? I see a lot of that already happened to the brown folks.
Yeah, I believe. Well, I think some of that comes from Giuliani. Because Giuliani had that stop and frisk policy in New York, yes? And but I believe they found that there was too many people got profiled.
Yeah,
You're a white man in a black neighborhood. What are you doing? What are you looking for? What are you here to buy? Or vice versa, right? What are you here to steal?
So that's the profile. He said judiciously. So stop profiling and do it right. If you have some intention, or if it's some kind of motive, or if you have some kind of, what's the word they use? I keep forgetting it.
Probable cause.
Yeah. But when you just see a person that's in the neighborhood and they just in the neighborhood, come on, bro. That's not judicious.
Isn't that some of why they decided to get away from that stop and frisk? They had no other probable cause, but because you don't belong here, so I'm going to stop.
Yeah, whether you're a white guy in a black neighborhood buying crack, or a black guy riding around a white neighborhood trying to say, I don't know what the fuck you're doing, what they're doing, or selling crack, or it doesn't matter. Like, just let it happen. Okay, if it's going to happen, it's going to happen. But why would you profile them? And then it's a big old lawsuit, and then they say give them back the power. The police officers are losing power because they're making bad decisions.
Yeah, I mean, but I some of what he says, yeah, they need to have, I think what it comes down to is truly better training.
Yeah.
I mean, and we're going to get that kind of into the next, issue that we're talking about. And I'll tell you what, let's check out this video because it all kind of ties together, I believe, Larry.
Okay.
And that is the difficulty in actually getting recruits through the door and getting them trained properly, I guess.
There's several factors as to why we're seeing fewer men and women go into policing. Right now, acts of gun violence towards police officers are happening in every corner of the country. Now, both law enforcement agencies that I spoke with today say there needs to be updated trainings to keep up with these unprecedented times. Updated trainings allows for departments to adapt to changes in society. Just today, the Morgan County Sheriff's Office spearheaded active shooter training at a local school, a scenario weighing on the minds of parents and students ahead of the school year. The initiative sparked after the shooting at Uvalde Elementary School in Texas. Although there may be a greater safety concern for officers, it's a career that cannot go vacant.
It's hard to find quality people that want to put themselves, in this role. Especially because it takes a toll on the family. Your life is more at risk than probably it ever has been. Right. So it's hard to get people that want to sign up for that.
Just down the road, Priceville police are working to keep up with the growing population. One patrol officer tells me at the end of the day, your heart needs to be in it. It's a rewarding career, but a strenuous one. To put it all into perspective, Priceville Police Department says 10 years ago they were swamped with applications and had many people interested in the job. Now that interest has plummeted, and they're searching for people looking to protect and serve.
Issues.
Well, man, it's a lot of, the police officers are catching a lot of heat from some bad officers. It's a lot of stuff going on with a lot of bad decisions being made. Then when officers ran out the school when they should have been protecting those kids. That was another embarrassment on the police force. And every time you look up, it's always negative, 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 negative.
Right. And
No one wants to be a part of that. Whether you black or white, I'm like, I wouldn't want to be a part of that.
that's keeping it 100. I mean, I think that there's we have a supply issue everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, whether it's, being able to fill people to get, transport products and or getting a cop behind the wheel of a car to respond to the needs of a citizen.
Yeah, because it's like, it's a shortage everywhere. But think about it. Now, it's a shortage with truck drivers and people showing up to work at a fast food restaurant or a factory. Think about you got to show up to work, and the bullet you might get shot in the ass with a bullet.
Mm-hmm.
You're less likely to say, you know what, I prefer not to take that job.
And look, with staffing shortages, these people are working overtime. What happened back in Dallas, was it 3 years ago, with the female cop that she had worked an overtime shift, came home, went to the wrong apartment,
shot the guy.
She's
in jail right now. Yeah.
So there you go. That's, I almost say, that's stress induced. In some respect, why didn't the PD monitor how much that person was working and know they were that fatigued? Because, she actually had records that said she worked, 18 hours?
I'm going to tell you something, Tim. These days, these companies don't give a rat's ass how many hours you work. They care about their bottom line. From the police force to whatever, when it comes to them making revenue and getting what they can get out of you, they want their bottom line. They don't care whether you're hurt, whether you're psychological issues, whether you're tired. Take your ass to work, make me my money. That's
right.
all they care about.
And you hear so much about this defund the police now, right? Mm-hmm. Defund the police. So what I did was I quickly researched, because on all these right-wing programs, you hear them, the Dems want to defund the police, blah, 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 the Dems. And it's not just the Dems, all right? You and I have discussed this. Let's party separate. It's all y'all. So what I looked at is the large cities with Democratic mayors spend far more money on policing and hire far more police officers than large cities with Republican mayors. The 25 largest Democratic-run cities employ 75% more police officers than the 25 Republican-ran cities on capita basis. The 25 largest Democrat-run cities spend 38% more on policing than the 25 largest Republican-run cities per capita basis. The most recent budget cycle, the 25 largest Democratic-run cities collectively increased their policing budgets by more than 25% than the largest Republican-run cities. Republicans talk more about funding the police than defunding the police than actually funding them. Let's keep it real. It's all over the place. And I understand that you have budget constraints and times are tough, but it's not time to defund the police, and it's not time to point the fingers Republican, Democrat. It's time to get these people trained properly so they don't make the frickin' mistakes they've been making.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, we need police.
Absolutely we need police. Let's keep that real. They're talking about, also in this particular rally, he was talking about, is how they can actually invoke the reserve, to help out in police. Now, do you really want the military involved in that way in your city? Because now it starts becoming reserves, you see where I'm saying? You see where that's going, right?
I've been in the Army, and I know guys that were in the Army full time that wasn't trained properly. You show them one on National Guard, a weekend warrior, on a reserve person trying to act police wise.
Yeah, but then you can easily declare, that the military is going to take over that area, and they're already there and in police, and then you got military enforcement, military rule, and they're under the direction of the President of the United States.
It won't work. Have they not saw Rambo? It won't work.
Oh, that's Rambo kicked our butt, didn't he?
It ain't gonna work. Think about it, man. There's too many people out there on the street. If they decide to link up with each other and go against the military or the police, they will lose in a street battle. It'll be guerrilla warfare
No, I'm
again.
not
It's like
thinking about going up against the police. I'm sitting there thinking the military could just take the police out of the entire picture because they wouldn't be necessary. Now the military's involved.
I really, yeah, but if you're gonna defund the police, you got to replace them with the military. So
Yeah,
like,
but they are already trying to give a bad name to what they like to call the alphabet gang, right? The CIA, the FBI, the Secret Service. They keep because they try to make it think like it's a joke to where they can now, as in even in the Supreme Court, it's starting to look like a freaking joke. But if you take confidence out of the government and you got one person up there, i.e., we know who that could be. You don't think they're prepping for 2024? You're crazy.
they're prepping for something, but they trying to. It's coming. It's coming, man.
And I'm not saying it's Republicans or Democrats. I'm just saying storms are coming.
Yes, I was a storm coming. Oh yes, of course, something is coming, bro. It's money. Money is always a driving force behind something's coming, and then a bunch of people in charge that don't really give a rat's ass that think they know what they're talking about. That's the problem. Money and stupidity, and the wrong leaders. Money, wrong leaders that don't mix. You need proper leadership, and you need money to build proper leadership. You need money to fund the proper leadership. If you got a bunch of money and the wrong leadership, it ain't gonna work. If you got the good leadership but no money, it's not gonna work.
You gotta have money to run against some of that leadership. And hey, I mean, some people will even steep to making a phone call to prison and seeing if they can get hooked on.
Oh, I'm so disappointed in this system.
Yeah, I am too, my friend. I am too. Now, did you see about the Google IE engineer that got fired for leaking out some information about their
the fake robot?
The robot. And I mean, we talked about this, maybe a month ago, 2 months ago or so, I guess, maybe.
Yeah.
But anyhow, let's check it out. They have a little interview with him. And listen to what he has to say.
UK interview. Blake, a very good evening to you. Tell me, how did you first make this discovery?
Hi, Tom. So I was originally testing the system for bias and was going through pretty methodically, checking for different kinds of bias. And it started saying some things to me very unlike the kinds of things that chatbots like GPT-3 or other previous versions of this system said. I'm a naturally curious person, so I kind of followed it down the rabbit hole, having more and more interesting conversations with it, until eventually one day last November, I found myself having the most sophisticated conversation about the nature of sentience I've ever had, and I was having that conversation with a computer.
Right. Well, a disturbing moment, an exciting moment, an extraordinary moment, I'm sure. Your employers, Google, though, don't believe you. Now, they say, and they've told us, that they've gone through rigorous testing and research of that AI chatbot. They put you on indefinite leave. So why do you think they've done that?
Well, one, the stated reason why I'm on administrative leave is that during the time when I was investigating the potential sentience of this system, because things were so strange and outside of either my expertise or the expertise of anyone at Google, I had to seek outside consultation from experts outside of Google. Once I escalated my report on my findings to them, I also gave them a list of all of the people outside of Google who I had spoken to. They're currently trying to figure out whether or not seeking outside consultation like that constitutes a breach of confidentiality. Well, so if you're asking about military technology, I think we should definitely be concerned about what kinds of AI projects might be being developed by the military behind closed doors. But the only one that I can speak to personally is the one being developed at Google, which is not in any way violent. It's a pretty sweet and innocent kid, more likely. It just happens to be one that's incredibly intelligent about a lot of subjects.
But it is capable of doing some bad things?
Well, I mean, so I was originally testing it for bias. That's my actual technical expertise, is in AI bias. And it definitely has some biases, or it did at the time. And I composed a big long list of them, and I handed them off to the development team to fix. I've checked periodically over the last 6 months, and it's been getting better. but there are definitely some possibilities that this kind of technology, trained on biased data sets, would have biased impacts on the world when it's deployed. I'd be much more worried about that and about the potential that AI systems like this have to politically influence people than I would about any violence.
Interesting.
Okay, see, he's testing for bias, and he's saying that it was okay. Let me hear your perspective real quick.
Bias is where you come at something from one direction only. You don't listen. Just like you only have a tunnel vision, right?
Right.
Just like I'm biased against blacks because of this. I'm biased against whatever particular it may be. Does that make sense?
So he was testing to make sure it doesn't focus on one particular thing.
Right? Yeah. And what he is saying is, well, in some instances it did, and I'm not sure exactly, but I found it more interesting that he is a chatbot developer. And isn't that the same thing that Elon Musk was talking about when he said he didn't want to get into Twitter and some of this because a lot of it's bots? These bots. Yeah. And it's like, so they got artificial intelligence on, I guess, probably all of these social media sites, responding and putting stuff out. And I mean, it could be not even a real person, that you are communicating with, obviously. Or is disseminating this information out to the public. Again, that's probably why he was checking it for bias.
Making sure that the information that's put out is totally unbiased and is not directed towards a particular thing to influence a group of people or a person to think a certain way, basically.
Right. That makes sense to me.
And they put him on suspension because he shouldn't have did that though.
Well, I think probably why they put him on suspension, which makes perfect sense to me, would be that if you went outside of the company to seek, consultation, and you've already signed a NDA with me, right? When I hire you in, I'm going to have you probably sign an NDA.
Breach of contract.
Right. So, yeah, I can understand their point, but I can understand that what he's saying could probably absolutely be the truth.
No, I bet it is the truth. I'm like, if you can use artificial intelligence you got to think about it, man. You got Donald Trump convincing people to go travel down the national damn nation and stuff. They turn up monuments and crap. You think about AI. Everybody's always in the computer, always on the phone. That's the best, simpler way to shoot out a subliminal message to get people to fall in line, to act irrationally and do negative things, to vote, to not vote, to cheat to vote, to whatever. Computers and phones are like.
No, I mean, it is amazing. I mean, if you even look at when you get friend requests, it's like some person from some random damn place I've never heard of and doesn't know. And you're like, really? Delete? No. What are you kidding
and
me?
then you pick them, then your whole system gets
whacked out.
Attacked. You got to get another, hey, this is me. Can you put them back in your friend? I got
hacked. I wonder why. Don't accept all that crap. I mean, they are, and they can be bots. And now once they take over your account, boom, 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 they're spamming out to your friends. Yeah.
See, they should better use that to our advantage when it comes to terrorism and all kinds of threats.
And who knows, like he said, though, Larry, how do you know the military hasn't developed some type of AI that could, easily, turn the tables on whoever?
They haven't. They're working on it. I know they got to be working on it.
Let's not be naive, right?
I'm like, COVID ain't the biggest thing around here. It should be something way bigger than that.
Come on, man. It is monkeypox. You haven't heard?
Yeah, I'm like, they create all kinds of, we don't even want to get into the conspiracy theory.
Oh, yeah,
The whole show myself.
Anyhow, speaking of conspiracies,
Uh-oh.
There is a Chinese company that seems to be buying land up all over the United States. But there's one particular piece of property that they got their hands on seems to have some people concerned.
Take a look at this. A live look from the top of Clifford Hall. This is at the University of North Dakota in Grand Forks. Now, why are we showing this? Because about a dozen miles away sits several hundred acres of farmland now at the center of an international controversy. And News Nation correspondent Evan Lambert is live for us in Washington. So, Evan, why does this move by a Chinese company to buy this land have some, including members of Congress, concerned?
Well, Nicole, Chinese companies gobbling up U.S. farmland are leading to those growing concerns in Congress. Iowa Senator Chuck Grassley telling News Nation today it is important to protect not only our food production, but also national security. And here's that recent example. Chinese conglomerate Fufeng is building a corn milling plant in Grand Forks, North Dakota, just 12 miles from an Air Force base, which houses some of our top intelligence and surveillance capabilities. Chinese companies own nearly $2 billion worth of U.S. farmland, according to the USDA, and their ownership of land has increased dramatically over the past decade. Overall, it is still less than 1% of foreign-owned land. A U.S. agency charged with monitoring trade with China says the company that owns the North Dakota plant is not state-owned, but it does have connections to the Chinese government, and that the proximity of the land to the airbase does prompt security concerns. We spoke to South Dakota Congressman Dusty Johnson about those threats.
I do a number of military installations. They do what they can to make sure that eyes in the sky don't peer down at what's going on that base. But the closer you allow the Chinese Communist Party to these bases, the more difficult it is for us to obscure the activity on those bases.
And Johnson introduced recently legislation that would prevent adversarial foreign governments from making purchases like this. He tells us he's hoping for more bipartisan support. There is also legislation pending in the Senate. Nicole?
Isn't that interesting as hell?
I'm not surprised, man. America has been
letting their guard down.
They've been selling tail to all these other countries for years. And think about it. They said it could be a security. Yes, it's a security.
Well, hell yes, it's a security risk.
Where is this guy getting all this money from? He's getting it from the Chinese government.
Right. And the Chinese government, let's keep it real, is a communistic society, which means that everything goes through the government.
Yeah.
So it may not be government owned, but the government has their hand in everything. From, I don't care if you sold bubble gum on the street.
Government
has a part of that, gets a part of that, yeah.
But you know, America, this country loves money. They love just giving away all of these things that could come back and bite them in the ass. And they love doing it. I don't know the numbers, Tim, but I guarantee you, I heard something there where American citizens cannot go to certain countries and purchase property or land. Am I right or wrong about that?
I don't know. That'd be interesting to look at. That
yeah.
may probably
I was looking
be
at
true.
house owners a lot, looking for houses, whatever, and you can only rent there. You can't buy there. But in America, you have money, you can buy whatever you want, all the land. And why don't we sell all that farmland that we can generate ourselves? And
what did they say?
$12
million so far. $12 million that they spent in farmlands.
Make Dave Chappelle look like he just bought like 2 acres. You know what I'm saying?
Make him look bad because they think.
Where Dave at? Dave should be saying something. What? I need that. What's Dave at? It's comedy. I'm just saying. And America always does it. And it bothers me how we have this country where we still have to fight for land. Property value is sky high right now. And we selling off some very good farmable land that we can use ourselves to feed our people to the Chinese. Not saying I'm racist. All I'm saying is if other countries won't allow it, why do we allow it? If they will allow it, then okay. But then why would we not benefit from something that we already have? If you're proud of your country, if you're proud of America, why not use it yourself? Why sell it off to another country, knowing that we already had issues with that country and stuff like that, have issues and will have issues. That's just not a smart move by America.
Yeah, it would be interesting to see how that transpired, how that particular company's gobbling up all some farmland and why farmers would even... You know, you hear I don't know why the farmers would want to be selling off their land like that.
I think he sold it for what, 2-point-some million?
20 million, 20-something.
20 million, okay, my bad. I don't know why they said 2.1, 20 million.
Yeah, 20 plus million, yeah. So, you know.
$20 million.
I mean, it's not chump change.
Was it
by any
300 acres? Was it 300?
I don't know how. Oh, no, that was just in that particular military corn milling site.
Right.
By the Air Force base. You served in the military. Would you want a facility like that next to your base, knowing
now,
that
when you done beefing with them, had issues with them, but you know what, America, you know what they're gonna do? They probably get a spy. They're gonna send if they do build a plant, they're gonna send some people in there. They're gonna spy on them. They're gonna have some people on the inside relaying messages out, because it's just like America going down to China.
Espionage 101.
Yeah, going down to China, buying up a bunch of rice fields and build it next to the Chinese military base. What you think they would do? Would they even allow it to happen? No. Why we allow it to happen? I don't care if it is $20 million.
Yeah, I don't know why we let our guard down like that. That doesn't make a whole lot of sense. You know, they
protect your home.
Yeah, they piss and moan about the border, right? The border wall people.
But they sell all this land to China.
Yeah, they're gonna sell land to communist China.
So it's contradiction all together right now.
Yeah, it makes no sense. Right. Yeah.
Our country is full of hypocrites and contradictors.
Well, because it gives them a platform to get people behind them to get themselves in office so they can sit up there and not do a damn thing.
But the thing about it is, I don't get it. Why would you allow that to happen? Because I'm pretty sure someone knew that man was going to sell all that land to the Chinese. That don't just happen overnight. You know what I'm saying?
Well, yeah. I mean, you got to go. There is a process. Obviously, you've bought property. You've went through the process of buying property, and you got to, who are you, and provide identification and everything else. And, you know, how are you going to, it's just, I don't think you can just send, you know, a mysterious agent in there and who your mind is for. I can't tell you, but I'm buying the land.
Yeah, they knew that. I'm like, and what are the procedures? Yeah. What were the national security guys that did? Who were they?
Yeah. Why didn't they express their concerns then? Yeah. But I'm with you, you know. If you want to come in and rent some land, we'll rent you some land, but I can't see them, you know, owning land.
I'm going to look into that, because I know for a fact in the majority of the big superpower countries, Americans, if you're not from there, born there, you cannot buy property. You can only rent. You cannot buy large amounts of land. You can only rent.
I think that might be true. Like up in Canada, you have to live there for 2 or 3 years to actually purchase
some places,
property.
Some countries, you can't. It doesn't matter if you're not born there. You can't buy anything there.
Oh, you mean if you're not naturalized from that particular country?
You got to rent, and that makes sense. But our country's not like that. But I'm not tripping, because it's America, and we have a somewhat open door policy, as long as you abide by the norm that they want you to abide by, which it doesn't really happen here. But
we'll pick and choose when to make it an issue, Larry. We'll pick and choose our fights, and when it seems
I think it's stupid for them to do it. I don't think the country should let it go through.
I don't either.
And not to sound biased, but I really do believe that if you have issues with another country, you should not sell land like that to them.
When it becomes a security concern, absolutely.
Not next to a military base. That's just plain stupid.
You know, that's like saying, you know, Larry, you don't mind that we move this pervert in next door to you, right? And or this, you know, this homicidal guy on the other side, right? You don't have any problem with that, right?
Yeah, but we're gonna pay you X amount of dollars. I'm like, okay, but it goes against your own morals.
It goes in logic about the whole thing.
Logic.
No, you're right.
It's just that it's money. I'm like, no.
All about the money. You know what? Let's get into one of our favorite parts, and then we can come back and discuss this, because, you know, we love giving out the asshole award, but this one, you know, we stumbled across, and it is just absolutely more appalling, and the people that are behind it are all assholes.
This is one of the thousands of unregulated, unmonitored mines in the DRC. It's crawling with children, working like modern-day slaves. A 12-hour-long day of punishing work may earn them the equivalent of £1. Although one of the poorest countries on earth, DRC is rich in minerals. But a history of brutal colonial exploitation looks like being repeated now in 2017. Much of it's mined by hand, with rudimentary tools in harsh, potentially hazardous conditions. And wretched weather or not, the rush is on for a mineral the DRC has in great abundance, cobalt, and it's fast becoming more precious than gold. It's a critical ingredient in lithium-ion batteries which power smartphones and laptops. An army of children are at the heart of the mining production. Wearing no shoes and in the most wretched conditions, Dorsan is ordered to retrieve the sack he's forgotten. There's an urgency now. The rains make this dangerous work even more risky, and Dorsan's told in no uncertain terms he risks a beating if he messes up again. Dorsan, with Richard beside him, have worked all day. They're 8 and 11 years old. Even this punishing work doesn't guarantee enough for food. Dorsan hasn't eaten for 2 days now. This is what helpless looks like, and he's one of the children making millions for multinational corporations in America and China whilst they suffer in squalor.
No big surprise, but it's just heartbreaking.
China. No, man, they get away with murder in these other countries we don't even know about. You know, our kids complain about being punished from looking at TV and making them read books, stay off the phone and video games. They got kids in these other countries that's 12 years old with a gun and already at war with each other in countries. I'm like, and these just some assholes. And the crazy part about it, like I say, America and China, they mention us.
Oh, yeah. And it's such and I think people need to be aware of stuff like this. It's the kind of stuff that's like that is the kind of stuff that they keep on the back burner. Well, let's not let that out on mainstream media.
Yeah, and then if they had a chance to do it here in America, they would do it too. But they can't get away with it here. But they would do it with the way we got these fools running this country.
Well, they used to get away with it for a while, didn't they?
Yeah, they passed the labor laws back in what the 1700s. What was it?
Labor laws that, when the Emancipation Act, labor laws,
back in America, when they started making everything factories, when they took the land from the Indians and they brought in the factories, kids are working in the factories.
The 14th, that gave the women the right to vote, all that. Yeah, but I mean, that changed. We're known to suppress people, but that is blatantly, ridiculously disgusting.
That's disgusting. That's just bad. Horrible bad. And bad part about it is they're not the ones even getting rich. They're just the ones mining it. They're still not eating, working 12, 13 hours a day, not eating.
What do you say? He had, little kid said he had 8 in 2 days, and they've got him out there working 12, 14-hour days, carrying that crap around on his back. And besides, I believe if you would look it up, the cobalt, if you would look at the CDC has classified it as, it can cause all kinds of different problems, as far as birth defects, lung diseases. Mm-hmm. I didn't see him wearing masks. I didn't see him wearing gloves. I see no protection, just in there digging in that crap.
I don't even know. You can't even tell what they're digging up. They're just digging in it. I guess they just take, man, it's pitiful, man. It's hard to look at.
It is. It is, and I just wanted to do that, show people, be aware. I mean, sometimes we do, and we talk about things that, they don't normally talk about. We come at it from a different way that, they always come at it on mainstream.
Well, we just can't take life for granted, because somewhere else, someone is not on the podcast. Someone doesn't have a nice shirt on. Someone doesn't have guitars on their wall. Someone doesn't have all these luxuries that we have, and we still complain about them sometimes. But at the end of the day, you could be digging up some mud and dirt in the rain and not eating for 2 days and I can't read or write or play or whatever as a kid. Think about that.
And we're blessed.
Think about your kids
in a lot of ways here in the United States. But again, hey, as we talked about earlier, don't let your guard down either.
You gotta stay woke. You gotta stay strong, stay aware, because they're lurking. Who are they? They are the people that are trying to take advantage of you. That are taking advantage of you. That's trying to take even more advantage of you. Lurking.
Be aware. Tell you what, let me get into full cams here, and let's, Larry, get into what is your tip of the week, my friend.
My name is Larry Estelle, LRE Fitness Solutions. You can check me out on Instagram at LRE or Estelle Junior Larry, or even on Facebook at Estelle Junior Larry or at LRE Fitness Solutions. My tip for the week is you don't always have to be in the gym to exercise. You got simple things you can do on a daily basis, like cutting the grass, going shopping, just cleaning up around the house. Daily chores you do can be ways that you can burn calories, some calories, and just keep your metabolism moving. So you don't always have to have a gym workout or a program or whatever. But I'm not saying you shouldn't. But there's always some way to get up, move around, keep your body moving. Don't just lay there and stay stagnant. Do something, because doing something burns calories compared to doing nothing. So remember that. It's actually called NEAT, non-exercise activity. I'm reading now. Non-exercise activity thermogenesis. NEAT. Remember that. Moving around, doing certain things every day, typical stuff, washing the car, do those things, and you can burn some calories until you get ready to go to the gym, get fit. LRE Fitness Solutions, Facebook, Instagram, same thing. Estelle Junior Larry. Check me out.
Check it out. Anyhow, this is Smooth Tim, and you can follow me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. And yeah, really super appreciate you for tuning in. And again, hey, it's not always this far left. It's not always that far right. There's a middle of the road. And I think there's 90% of the population out there is middle of the road. And stop, look, and listen. I keep saying that every show. Look both ways before you cross the damn street, because you never know what they're going to try to have coming at you.
It's coming.
Indeed, my friend. Indeed. Anyhow, that pretty much wraps it up. So until next week, Larry, we are so out of here. Peace.